In this video, we're going to look at styling text in Dreamweaver using the property inspector. I've opened the file called companytext.html. If you're working along with me, you can find the source files used in this tutorial in the details area of the video workshop. Now, when I talk about styling text, I'm referring to taking some text on your web page and changing any combination of its font face, size, color, and so on. And it's generally accepted that these days, instead of selecting text on your page and changing it attribute by attribute with the property inspector, for example, selecting some text and then making it bold, then picking a font, then setting a color, you should instead create cascading style sheets using the CSS panel to design the look of all of your text elements and then start applying those styles to your text. And to learn more about working with CSS, you should be sure to watch the videos on CSS in this workshop. But for those times when you're just working on a very small collection of pages, using the property inspector is just fine. Let's look at how this works. Right now I have plain unformatted text on this page and nothing else. To format text, just like with any word processor, I just need to highlight the text that I want to change, and then I can make my changes down here in the property inspector. So let's highlight this text, Humble Beginnings. With this text selected, I'm going to come down here in the property inspector and just click B to make it bold. You can see that there. And if I switch over to the code view for a moment, you can see Dreamweaver adds the strong tags around that text to make it bold. Let's go back to the design view. Now I want to change this text's font, so let's go ahead and select that. And I can select the font from the font menu here in the property inspector. Now normally in word processors, you have access to all the fonts installed on your computer, which can range from dozens of fonts to even hundreds of fonts. But the difference between working with fonts in a word processor and working with fonts in Dreamweaver is that when you're working with web pages, you have to choose fonts that are likely to be installed on the computer of the person viewing your page. And as you can imagine, this significantly shortens the list of fonts you can potentially use. So you're going to have to stick with more common fonts, which is why this list here looks so short. So in this case, I'm going to be choosing Verdana. This set contains the names of fonts that should be installed on all computers unless a user has specifically removed them. The reason we have a list of fonts here instead of single font names is in case a person viewing your page doesn't have Verdana installed, the browser will then look for Arial. Not finding that, it'll look for Helvetica. Not finding any of those, it'll use the first sans serif default font that it finds. And you can see a change there. Now, if I go back and look at the code, I'll see an interesting thing has happened. Notice that the strong tags have been removed from around the text, and now we see the span tags around the text, indicating that the text within them should be formatted with style 1. And up here we can see the style 1 description specifies that any text that it's been applied to should be set to the Verdana set and be made bold. So just like that, Dreamweaver has created an internal style sheet for you. This is just a further indication that CSS is really the way to be formatting your text. Even if you thought you were being tricky by bypassing the CSS panel and formatting your text in the property inspector, Dreamweaver went ahead and created a style for you anyway. And you can see it right here in the styles panel. There's style 1 right there, and there's the description of the style. Let's switch back to our design view. So I can continue formatting this text. If I want to change the color, there's a color wheel here, where I can choose a color. You can see it's changed there. Or if I want to change the size of the text, I can come in here and choose maybe 18 pixels. Like so. And switching back to the code inspector, I can see those attributes have been added to the style right there. So what does this mean to me? Well, it basically means that if I want to apply these exact same attributes to a different selection of text, this next heading section, for instance, instead of selecting this text and individually changing its font face, weight, size, and color, I can just come in here to the style menu, and there's style 1. And Dreamweaver applies those exact same attributes to the text. Same thing here, apply that again, and there it is. And if I were to actually go and edit this style, for instance, change the color, all of those headings that have been formatted with that particular style would change their color. So that's how you style text from the properties inspector. Again, this method is fine for small sites with few pages, but if you're creating a larger site with lots of pages, you definitely want to do your style creation from the CSS panel. And be sure to check out the CSS movies in this workshop for more information on how to do that.